Right now, as you read this sentence, there is a voice in your head reading it with you. You did not choose to turn it on. You cannot really turn it off. And for most of your life, you have probably assumed everyone has one, without ever stopping to wonder what it actually is, or why your brain bothers running it at all. That voice is called inner speech, and the reason it exists will change the way you think about thinking. Here is why this matters to you personally. That inner voice is not a quirk. It is not a sign that something is slightly off. It is one of the most powerful tools your brain uses to keep you functioning, to stop you from falling apart under pressure, and to help you make decisions without freezing up. Most people live their whole lives never understanding what that voice is doing for them. Once you do, you will start using it on purpose. The psychologist Lev Vygotsky was the first to take this seriously as a science. Working in Moscow in the 1920s and 1930s, he watched children as young as 3 years old narrate their own actions out loud. A child building with blocks would whisper, "I am putting the big one here." A child drawing would murmur, "Now the red, now the circle." Vygotsky argued that this was not children being silly or dramatic. They were using language to organize thought. Over time, that outward narration gets pulled inward. It becomes the voice you now hear in your own head. Private, compressed, fast, but still doing the exact same job. So that voice in your head is literally a skill you learned as a toddler and never stopped practicing. But that is not the strangest part. Keep this next idea close, because it reframes everything that follows. Researchers at the University of Huddersfield, led by psychologist Ben Alderson-Day, spent years scanning people's brains while they engaged in inner speech. What they found surprised even them. Inner speech is not one thing. It splits into two distinct types. The first is condensed, almost wordless, a flash of meaning without full sentences. The second is fully dialogic, meaning the voice in your head is genuinely talking back to itself, taking turns, holding what functions like a real conversation between two sides of you. Alderson-Day published this work in 2015, and the implications are unsettling in the best way. You are not one voice, you are at least two, negotiating with each other constantly. Now here is where it gets practical and personal. In 2014, psychologist Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan ran an experiment. He gave people something genuinely stressful, a public speaking task with no warning, no preparation. Then he told one group to talk to themselves using their own name and the word you. Instead of thinking, "I am so nervous," they were coached to say, "Okay, Sarah, you have done hard things before. You can handle this." The results were striking. People who used this distanced self-talk, what Cross calls the third-person trick, performed measurably better. They felt less shame, less dread, and recovered faster from the stress afterward. The voice in your head, aimed outward at yourself like a coach speaking to a player, physically changes how your nervous system responds. One sentence, spoken to yourself differently, and your body responds differently. That is not motivational poster territory, that is neuroscience. But here is the turn, the part that reframes the whole story. For decades, the popular idea was that talking to yourself was a warning sign, a symptom, something to suppress. The person muttering on the train, the athlete talking through a shot before taking it, the child narrating their own drawings. All of it read as slightly odd. The real research says the opposite. Inner speech is a sign of a brain doing advanced work. Clinical psychologist Charles Fernyhough at Durham University, who has spent 20 years studying inner voice phenomena, argues that a rich, active inner voice is correlated with stronger self-regulation, better emotional processing, and higher performance under pressure. The people most in trouble are often the ones whose inner voice has gone silent, gone cruel, or gone completely out of control, not the ones who have a loud one. The voice is not the problem. What the voice is saying and how is the whole question. So here is what all of this lands on. You have been carrying this tool your entire life without a manual. You can use it like a bully or like a coach. You can let it spiral, replaying the same humiliation on loop. Or you can redirect it, literally call yourself by name and shift the register. You can let it be a panicked first-person spiral or a calm second-person advisor. The structure of what you say to yourself is not decoration. It is architecture. It shapes what you feel, what you decide, and how you recover. The next time you catch that voice running, do not try to silence it. Listen to what it is actually saying. Ask whether you would say that to someone you cared about. Then try saying something different. Your brain has been narrating your life since you were 3 years old. It is about time you started writing some of the lines yourself. If that idea is still turning over in your head, subscribe, because every week on this channel we pull apart one more thing about the way you think, feel, and behave that nobody ever quite explained to you.